Hello, my family. We're going to do a little bit more reading of As a Man Thinketh today. Not going to talk too much to start. I'm just going to dive right into it because I was feeling a bit aimless myself. Woke up at about 7:30 p.m. Had about 12 hours sleep. And yeah, feeling a bit aimless. So I'm going to help bring myself some purpose. And hopefully you can pick up some purpose as well. I'm going to start by reading the chapter I read last time. Not reading the chapter. I'm going to read the paragraph I finished on last time and then we'll continue from there. We're recording? We're recording. Alright, let's go. I love you, family. Thanks for being here with me. We finished off on this paragraph here. The circumstances with which one encounters with suffering are the result of one's own mental inharmonies. The circumstances which one encounters blessedness are the result of his own harmony. Blessedness and not material possession is the measure of right thought. Wretchedness, not lack of material possession, is the measure of wrong thought. A man may be poor. I skipped a sentence. A man may be cursed and rich, and at the same time a man may be blessed and poor. Blessedness and riches are joined only together when the riches are rightly and wisely used, and the poor man only descends into wretchedness when he regards his lot as a burden unjustly imposed. That's where we finished last time. Indigence and indulgence are the two extremes of wretchedness. Indigence. Indulgence obviously means excess. What does indigence mean? Indigence, define. A state of extreme poverty. So, indulgence, excess, indigence, incest. No, the lack of, whatever the opposite word is. Indigence and indulgence are the two extremes of wretchedness. They are both equally unnatural and the result of mental disorder. One is not rightly conditioned until he is happy, healthy, and prosperous. A being of happiness, health, and prosperity is the result of harmonious adjustments of one's inner with the outer, of oneself with one's surroundings. One can only begin to be a mature being when we cease to whine and revile, and commence to search for the hidden justice which regulates our life. If we can adapt our mind to that regulating factor, then we will cease to accuse others of the cause of our conditions, and we will build ourselves up in strong and noble thought. We will cease to kick against circumstances, and begin to use them as aids to more rapid progress towards means of discovering the hidden powers and possibilities within ourselves. Law, not confusion, is the dominating principle in the universe. I would change law with order. Law has too much of a societal connotation to it. I feel like order you can understand as universal apart from human written law. So order, not confusion, is the dominating principle in the universe. And then we could go into philosophical conversation about how chaos is just as important as order, but I don't want to go into that right now. I'm just trying to read a goddamn book. Justice, not injustice, is the soul and substance of life. The Righteousness and not corruption is the moulding and moving force in the spiritual government of the world. This being so, man has but to right himself to find that the universe is right, and during the process of putting oneself right, we will find that as we alter our thoughts towards things and other people will alter towards ourselves. The proof of this is truth in every person, and it therefore admits of easy investigation, by systematic introspection and self-analysis. I was just talking with my homie Christian. Systematic introspection and self-analysis is important for many things, not only just self-improvement and self-transformation, but we were talking about writing lyrics, and I made the comment that like most of my lyrics are just me talking about my life, introspecting on my life. So yeah, self-analysis and introspection should fill your life. Please allow it to. Let one radically alter one's thoughts, and we will be astonished at the rapid transformation it will effect in the material conditions of one's life. We imagine that thought can be kept a secret, but it cannot. It rapidly crystallizes into habit, and habit solidifies into circumstance. I was talking with Benny about this last night under the guise of karma. Karma is spoken about very simply as kind of what goes around comes around, but this is in essence karma. Karma is action. Action begins with thought. It crystallizes into habit, and that solidifies into our circumstance. So our action, our karma, is our circumstances. We create them through our actions, and they originate within the garden of our mind. Bestial thoughts crystallize into habits of drunkenness and sensuality, which solidify into circumstances of destitution and disease. Impure thoughts of every kind crystallize into enervating and confusing habits, which solidify into distracting and adverse circumstances. Thoughts of fear, doubt, and indecision crystallize into weak, unmature, and irresolute habits, which solidify into circumstances of failure, indigence, and slavish dependence. So this kind of goes on for a while, just saying all the habits we can have, lazy thoughts, etc., and how they crystallize into a form of something else, and then that solidifies into the circumstance of our life, which we find unpleasant. I'm not going to read them all out. I will read, on the other hand, the beautiful thoughts, for they of all kinds crystallize into habits of grace and kindliness, solidifying into sunny circumstances. Pure thoughts crystallize into habits of temperance, self-control, which solidify into circumstances of repose and peace. And again, we continue like this, but you get what I'm saying. Loving and unselfish thoughts crystallize into habits of self-forgetfulness for others, which solidify into circumstances of sure and abiding prosperity and true riches. A particular train of thought persisted in, be it good or bad, cannot fail to produce its results on the character and one's circumstances. A man cannot directly choose his circumstances, but he can choose his thoughts, and so directly we cannot choose our circumstances, absolutely, but we can choose the thoughts. And so indirectly, yet surely, we can shape our circumstances. Nature helps everyone to the gratification of the thoughts which one most encourages, and opportunities are presented which will most speedily bring to the surface both the good and the bad, without sway either way. Nature doesn't care if you plant good or bad seeds. Nature doesn't see the good or bad. It is our attachment to false realities that makes us perceive things as good and bad. And so long as we perceive things as good and bad, we may wish to cultivate the good over the bad. And that's our game. But nature doesn't play that game. Nature plays a grey game. We play in the black and white. And it's up to us to allow the grey to fill the black and white. To allow some depth. Nature helps everyone to the gratification of the thoughts we most encourage, caring not whether they are good or evil, bringing to the surface both the good and evil thoughts. Let a man cease from sinful thought, and all the world will soften towards him. be ready to help him. Let one put away weak and sickly thoughts, and lo, opportunities will spring up on every hand to aid his strong resolves. Let him encourage good thoughts, and no hard fate shall bind him down to wretchedness and shame. The world is your kaleidoscope, and the varying combinations of colours which at every succeeding moment it presents to you are the exquisitely adjusted pictures of your ever-moving thoughts. This is kind of what I've been talking as well to Benny about last night, minimum wage. Our realities are constructed largely through the words we use. The words we use are in essence measurements. We use a word to symbolize something in reality, and that has a value or a measurement. And we string all these words together to create innate value structures that we can transfer to each other, and we get kind of a somewhat understanding of what we're talking about. But these realities are like a kaleidoscope in the sense that they are created out of so many different combinations of words and thoughts. And the shift, something got cut off there. I'm not sure what just happened, but I'm pretty sure what I was just saying is that the realities that we perceive that culminate out of the words we speak, the thoughts we engage in, are like a kaleidoscope in the sense that you can change very slightly a perspective of one of the lenses, whether that be your words, whether that be your thoughts, whether that be a perspective, or whatever that may be. You shift something very slightly, and the reality in front of you changes. And that's not insignificant. That is, in fact, possibly one of the most significant things about our reality, is that we can think differently. We can use our words differently. We can crystallize that into our actions, in which we transform ourselves, and that whole process shifts the very reality in front of our eyes. We transform the reality. It's like a kaleidoscope. I think that's what I was trying to say. And well, that's what I was talking about with Benny, but not in the kaleidoscope analogy, just in the analogy that words are ways, our language is a way of measuring reality. And I actually wrote down, my computer keep bronking off. Sorry for all these cuts in this one, but essentially what I was trying to say is that what I was speaking to with Benny is that the basis of our reality is what we use to measure it, and how we measure reality in this part in our lives is largely through our language and how we speak to each other. That's how I was talking to Benny with, and the book takes that further by implementing language into that. My girlfriend's here, Anya's here. I just gotta let her in, and then I'm gonna read you the final page of this chapter. One moment. Another cut, goddamn. Final page. I actually read you the final page of the chapter, but it just ends with a little bit of a poem. I'm gonna try and read it, even though I don't really understand it that much. So, following the fact that we now see the world is our kaleidoscope, and that the varying combination of colours that with every succeeding moment present itself to us, just like reality continues to present itself in a new light. Those realities are the exquisitely adjusted pictures of our ever-moving thoughts. Our thoughts crystallizing into our speech, solidifying into our action, and becoming our very environment. Now the poem. You will be what you will to be, yet failure finds its false content in that poor world environment, but spirit scorns it and is free. It masters time, it conquers space, it cows that boastful trickster chance, and bids the tyrant circumstance uncrown and fill a servant's place. The human will, that force unseen, the offspring of a deathless soul, can hew a way to any goal, though walls of granite intervene. Be not impatient in delay, but wait as one who understands. when spirit rises and commands, the gods are ready to obey. That is the end of the chapter of the effect of thought on circumstances in As a Man Thinketh, As a Human Thinketh by James Allen. So we've finished the biggest chapter so far. Thank you for listening. Proud of you guys for learning alongside with me. I love you guys so much. Thanks for being there at the health premiere last night and for fucking with shadows the other night. I was really feeling good with both of those premieres. It felt very nice. It felt nice to see the family ride, and as well as with Tower 17 coming back. I see a lot of you playing the music again, messaging me, happy that it's back up. So that means a lot to me. So thank you so much. Thank you for being you. I appreciate you all so much. I love you so much. And next chapter we're going to be reading from As a Man Thinketh is Effect of Thought on Health and the Body. That could be interesting to some of you guys. Definitely see how that could be interesting. Alright, I love you guys so much. See you next time.